Hello, we're here again and doing this wonderful thing we do, connecting and meeting with you. That's always the fun and always the amazing thing. You know, I'm always thinking about what wisdom I would wish to share with you. There's so much inside this head of mine, and there's God's wisdom inside this head of mine. And all I really wish to share is God's wisdom because that's what works. I was thinking about this word that we use somewhat in our conversations called authentic. What does that really mean? How can we act authentically? People are telling us, apparently, some of these self-help people, to act authentically. But what does it mean to do so? Some people would say follow your heart. That could be a tricky course because the heart can be pretty dark and black. We wouldn't want to do that. But there is an innateness within us, something that sings to our soul, makes our essence rise to God, and causes our spirit to completely come into sync with us when we're doing that thing. Maybe that is the piece of wisdom I'll leave you with. Maybe that's what you can look for. There's always something we do that does that, that just brings us to that greater sense of peace. This is what we came for. This is what we're here for. Let's leave that there. So, in case you need to reach out to me, it's Eric at starthealing.me, Eric at starthealing.me, Eric at starthealing.me. Now let's move into that interesting story, the news story, part 6. More to come, of course. We're going to finish this one, so if you're listening, yes, there is an end, of sorts, anyway. Might call it book 1, but we're definitely going to the end of book 1. So, where was she? Well, she was smelling breakfast, and that's always a good thing. She'd had an incredible dream, and she saw the lawmakers, but she didn't want to describe them outside of her own head. So I guess we'll have to wait till they arrive, I suppose, if they do. She was surprised by them, so that's something, isn't it? Hmm. Well, the narrator's job is over. Let's get back to that story. She followed her nose because that smell was amazing. That smelled like a real breakfast, like things that shouldn't exist but do exist, and please may they exist. She was mumbling to herself as she headed for the smell, and when she got there, of course, you know, there was the man that she had first connected to that was from somewhere else, cooking things from somewhere else. Bacon, eggs, toast. Toast? How do you get a toaster to work here? That's a trick I wish to know. Oh, and tomatoes. Well, that's a good breakfast right there. What's bubbling over in the beans? Okay, now it's all here. This is a true breakfast. He looked up and he said, hungry, and she goes, I am now. The minute I woke up and smelt that, I was very hungry. He looked at her and he said, did you rest some? Had an interesting dream, vision, something? Saw some things you can't unsee. Good, mostly. I think. We'll talk about it after breakfast because I'm there. And to their surprise, that prince that had been walled in his little house for a while also came out sniffing. Do they eat that type of food? She said to herself, I do not know. I don't know anything about this world at all. And he came and he looked and he said, some of that I can eat. Some of that I will eat because it smells very good, even to my nose. And then it dawned on her that he didn't look quite like his father. There was something different about him. And he cocked his head and he said, ah, you noticed. I'm a hybrid. That's why this is interesting to me. My mother was one of those that had arrived and was bipedal and pushed into the slavery that I do not like. But she raised me well. She loved me much, and she passed. It's unfortunate. And it felt like that's the end of this. So they were all sitting. He was eating what he could. He was enjoying it. She was enjoying it. The man that was cooking finally sat down and enjoyed his. And he looked at her and he said, can you tell me more about your vision? Well, I saw a lot of people coming and they were being protected and they were recovering, restoring, renewing, refreshing their lives and becoming what God wished them to be. And the prince said, that's what I wish for. And she said, then I saw, I think, the lawmakers. And the prince just dropped his fork, looked at her and said, really? Did you see them? Because you don't dream them, you see them in your dreams. He said, I know, I've seen them. When they came for a dispute that happened. She goes, they're interesting. He goes, and powerful and final. The original inhabitants of the planet, we believe. We don't know where they come from, but if they come and you have broken one of their laws, it's not good for you. She said they came to defend the city. And he just looked and he turned a bit pale. He said, wow, they must want this sanctuary, wish for it, desire it. So I'm not sure which way we would say it, but they have spoken through you, so you must be a prophetess. And she goes, seer, maybe. I don't know about prophets. Maybe God would argue with me. He said, can you describe them? And she said, I don't know if I wish to. And he said, that tells me enough. He said, they are immense, beautiful, powerful, thorough, and final. She goes, about does it. To her surprise, some of those crops that they planted somehow must have been more magical than supposed, because some of them looked like they were getting close to getting to the food stage. She said, I'll take on supper tonight. I'll make a stew. The prince surprised both of them and said, I'll go hunting and I'll bring back meat. And at that moment, their breakfast was interrupted by a roar. A cat-like beast was sitting on a piece of rubble, looking at them like they were breakfast. Let's leave it there. So let's have a blessing. Let God overflow you in the immense, wonderful nature of joy. The joy would permeate every single cell of your being, every cycle of your life, every footfall, every breath, every heartbeat, so that you would feel joy as the Creator wishes you to feel joy. And may that be followed by peace in the same measure, hope in the same measure, and abundance in the same measure, all painted by God's brush and what more God wishes to paint for you, according to His will and His way, according to your will and way, it can be. Let's have a prayer. We come before you, Father, Spirit, Son. And this is a sanctuary, isn't it? This is what this story is about, sanctuary. And we all seek it at some points, sometimes physically, sometimes spiritually. But you are a high tower. You are an impenetrable fortress. When we run into you, we are safe. Just overflow these people with that safety. Let them know that regardless of what's happening around them, they can come to you and you have answers, you have peace, and you have protection. And we just thank you for moving through each one of their lives, bringing them closer to you in relationship to you, as they wish, as you always wish. And we just thank you for the courage and strength and the grace and mercy as we move through each of these moments called life. And we say thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude. Standing in awe and honor and respect, allowing all glory to flow, the Father, Spirit, Son. This is, and so this is. So you be blessed. And when you rest, rest well. When you wake, wake well. And know that your path is lit by God. Blessings.